Welcome or welcome back. My name is Tab and I love to talk about books. Welcome to the 5th episode of my Read It and Return It series where I take out books from the library, I read them, and I return them. On this episode, I have a little something different. First off, this is probably going to be my landscape in a lot of videos. I live outside when it is the spring and summer where I live in the Northeast. So you're going to hear lots of birds, my dog. This is my happy place. And second thing is the 3 books that I'm going to read in this video, I believe are all going to be new releases. I'm not exactly sure what 3 books I'm going to read yet. I do know the first book that I'm going to read. Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. I loved Phantasma. I love the whole idea of trials and puzzles and games, and this one doesn't seem like it's going to disappoint. This follows the first book's female main character, Ophelia. I believe that's what her name was. This is her sister, Genevieve, and I guess it's based in Italy, but what I gather is it's not like scenic Italy. The villa that they're in Enchantra, is in Italy, and it's not like they're taking scenic cruises and checking out the Amalfi Coast or anything. And this says, when Genevieve Grimm's mother dies, she's left with questions no one can answer until she receives an invitation to Enchantra, a cursed palace in Italy frozen in time. Though denied entrance by the sinfully handsome yet hostile Rowan Silver, Genevieve finds her own way in and soon realizes her mistake. For Enchantra is a twisted labyrinth where Rowan and his 6 siblings are trapped in a deadly game at the mercy of a twisted devil and his ghastly spectators. Only one occupant of the house can survive. Genevieve now must win or die. Rowan warns her he's the deadliest of the Silvers, that he always wins, that her only chance is to compete as his wife. So they must convince their audience they're desperately in love, and while Genevieve's willing to do whatever it takes to survive, she also knows she can't trust Rowan, that the desire burning between them is a lie. After all, it was Rowan who taught her Enchantra's first rule: never, ever trust your heart. So this is going to be definitely enemies to lovers, marriage of convenience, being slated as like spicy. So I'm definitely going to do a spicy chapters in this, and I hope I enjoy this as much as I enjoyed Phantasma. I believe you can read this as a standalone, but I will be back to update if for whatever reason that isn't accurate or not. And totally off topic, but I don't know if, you live somewhere more rural and in the country, there's a application. I have an iPhone, so I can't really attest to like Android. It's called Merlin, and like this is what the app kind of looks like, and it is a bird tracker. I love birds. I love like everything outside. So I use this maybe like 3 times a day to see what birds I'm hearing when I'm outside. And it's just cool if that's something that you're interested in, or you live in an area where you're always hearing birds and you're wondering like, oh, what bird is that? Or that sounds like a cardinal. That's, a warbler. Something like that. So I figured I would just throw that out. I'll probably insert the pic of like the app icon right over here, just so that if you're searching, you can see what it is. All right, enough jibber jabbering. I'm super excited to just be outside reading again. So I'm going to sit down and I'm going to read Enchantra. Another cute little thing that I wanted to let you guys in on, they look a little funky right now, but this is to keep flies away. So I'm going to turn it on. And you see how it spins? I prop one like right next to me on the seat because flies seem to love to come on my legs. And if you can see it in like the corner, I have one on top of the table, and it really helps with keeping the flies in such a way. And usually when it starts to get a little bit dark, I'll light a couple of citronella candles on the table, and that seems to work. And these are so great because they're like, you see the base of it, they're completely bendable, so you can move them to however you want, and they plop right on the table. This part comes off. It's like very easy to like store them when you don't need them anymore. So I thought I would just let you guys know. I guess I'll try and link it in my Amazon storefront so you guys can, but you can just look at like table fans, or I think I searched for it because we like to eat out here a lot. And that's one thing that they said. You can put these on the table when you have food out here, and flies won't like attack you like they normally do. So I think it's fly fans for eating outside or something like that. I'm sure you can search on Amazon and a ton will pop up. But I just thought it's nice since most people are probably going to be outside soon. I ended up finishing reading Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. I rated this book 3.5 stars and 2 on my spicy scale. So let me kind of go over how I thought of this book. This is the second book in the Wicked Game series, and I can't wait for the third book. I absolutely cannot wait. Basically, like Phantasma, which was the first book, it's based around like games that the devil puts on. That's kind of like what happened in Phantasma, and that's what happened also in this book. And it's basically, immortal versus mortal, and trying to con the devil out of something. Like, pretty much. All these side characters were so awesome. Rowan, the male main character, has a bunch of siblings who are all likable in their own way, even if they're despicable. And you have Genevieve, or Vivi, and she has no one. She took it upon herself to come visit this mansion hoping for something completely different than what she got. And to see her, she's just so smart mouth and cunning. And Rowan has a nickname for her, Trouble, which is so fitting. And as she gets there, she realizes that she now cannot leave. There's a whole bunch of formalities that went into it, and now she's stuck having to participate in the hunt, which is a trials. I believe there's 4 or 5 trials. And she's going against only the Silver siblings, Rowan's siblings. And it all has to do, Rowan's mom is chronically ill, and each year the siblings keep playing these murderous games against each other to give their mom another year of life. Because what she has, she is supposed to already be gone with. And they're immortal. The Silver siblings are immortal. So yes, they in the hunt, but they only go back to hell for a year, and it's like they have their own house in hell. So it's not like it's something new or different. They don't die. It's impossible for them to die. So they just go to hell, and then they can come back to their Enchantra in Italy. That's what their palace is called. It's really confusing to try and explain this without giving away a bunch of spoilers. Just read it. It's very fast paced. I did think the book was going to be spicier than what it is. They definitely sprinkled in some spice, but it took a while for me to really be convinced that Rowan is capable kind of love. And how the ending went, I feel like the solution was just really quick, and we didn't kind of see how they got to the solution, but it's very obvious that there is going to be a book 3, and hopefully it's like everyone working together. That's my dream, is to have Ophelia, Salem, Rowan, Vivi, all the Silver siblings, Barrington the dad, the mom. I hope they all like team up to find some cure for this disease. Let's just say that Rowan is a shadow daddy and he knows how to use those shadows. So that is definitely a spicy chapter. It was surprising to read about, but I was definitely here for it. So those are my thoughts on the book. I highly enjoyed it and I would definitely recommend for you guys to pick it up, especially if you like enemies to lovers, marriage of convenience, and mortals versus immortals. For the next book that I am going to pick up in this Read It and Return It new edition series, I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and do Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. This is the last book in the Rebel Blue Ranch series, and I really don't want this series to end. I know that it has to, however, I was reading the author's note and she gets, very into like how this is her last book in this series. But the book, just like the sunrise on its cover, is also a tribute to new beginnings. It's an evergreen reminder that even though this series is coming to an end, the horizon remains vast, beautiful, and ours for the taking. And who knows, maybe I'll meet you at the Rebel Blue Ranch headgate again someday, because nothing lasts forever, not even goodbyes. Oh my God, I have like chills. I don't know why I'm like this, but I cannot wait to read this. This is Dusty and Camille's story. This is a second chance romance. I know that Camille was set to marry someone else, and he, I believe, never showed up to the wedding or stood her up, and now she is on her way back home to Rebel Blue Ranch. And who is her next door neighbor of the only house in the small town that's available to rent? Dusty. But I wanted to say this is indeed her last book in this series for now. But I did a little digging. I don't really know how much digging I could do, but she does in September have a new book in a new series coming out. So it's great to know that she's not like pumping the brakes or stopping. I guess she has quite a few things going on. And this one is called Soul Searching, and it's part of Sweetwater Peak. It's the first book. It comes out September 30th. And this one says home is where the heart is, and this one's haunted. Okay, so it must be a type of like haunted magical paranormal type of book. I can't wait for this. And this comes out September 30th. So we're getting another book for her before the end of the year. So I'm here for it. I'm going to start this one. Try not to cry my eyes out, knowing that this is the last I'm going to be with these characters for probably a long time. And I will be back to update when I'm finished. I just finished Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. End of an era. I ended up rating this book 4 stars, and it was 2 on my spicy scale. And I did not think that I was going to enjoy Dusty and Cam's story as much as I did. But knowing that it was the last book in this series, oh my God. I got teary-eyed so many times. Dusty is so swoony. First of all these men in the Rebel Blue Ranch, Amos especially, are just so swoony. Lila Sage does such a perfect job of really making you feel that these characters are so connected. I love to see all the previous characters from book 1 through 3 like sprinkled into this book. It was just so it was amazing. Dusty as a high school student with his writing notes and asking questions and having her write back with answers, it just was so nostalgic to me. It was just so sweet. The story was a dual point of view between Dusty Cam, and then it also had like flashbacks going back 15 years, and it talks about when they were in school together, the progression of their relationship, and the ultimate demise of their relationship. And truthfully, it seemed really severe. The way that they stopped talking to each other and just stopped in general, I was always such a big believer of, if you really loved this person wholeheartedly, how can you not like try and fight or recover the relationship? You're just like okay with going separate ways or not trying to like meet in the middle, or I don't know, maybe that's just me and my helpless romantic side of me. And the whole time you're reading, you're wondering like what happened between them for them to like break up, and how did Cam end up pregnant? Like, it just, none of it made sense until you were actually given those answers. And the whole pregnancy thing was kind of like strange. And of course, Amos, he is like the side character who is the main character in every single one of these books in this series. One of his favorite quotes, I think, that I've ever read in any of the books was, "Your history is still part of this picture, but it's less important than where you are now. There's a reason that rearview mirrors are small and windshields are big." I'm going to leave it at that. Okay. So the next book I'm going to pick up is Code Word Romance by Carly Walker. And this one says, one fake prime minister, one ridiculously hot handler, and one Italian summer collide in this thrilling adventure rom-com. So I am very excited to start this. I think this is going to be such a light and not fluffy, but light and exciting read. And I'm compiling my top 50 summer reads based on like books I have read and books that I want to read and books that are coming out in the summer. And this one could be a very big contender to be on that list. So I'll be back to update. I ended up finishing Code Word Romance by Carly Walker, and I ended up rating this book 2.75 stars and 2 for spice. So this book really, I don't know if I wasn't in the mood to read this, but it was a type of book that is, in my opinion, great for the beach, because you can pick the book up, put it down, pick it back up a day later, and you still can kind of know what's going on with the book. It's not like you're completely lost. And it was very much a rom-com, but I feel like these light and fluffy books just aren't what I'm gravitating towards. Like, now I'm looking for like really deep emotional, like physical connection, a big story plot. This book was so good for the beach. It takes place in Italy. There is the female main character, Max, who is like a doppelganger for the prime minister, Sophia. And basically, someone is trying to assassinate Sophia. They hire Max, because she looks just like Sophia, to stand in for her. And if anyone's trying to assassinate Sophia, they will just assassinate Max instead. And it just so happens that her CIA handler is someone that she had a very memorable fling with, who they know each other, and they don't want to bring up the past, but they really want to know what the heck happened. And the book is really just going through the motions of what Sophia would do day to day. There are funny characters. Max's roommate, Calvin, was such a standout character. There's characters you don't like. Everyone seems like they're the ones really trying to be the assassin or in cahoots with the assassin, because how can someone get through all of this security? It's very cute. It's light. You're not going to think about this and cry and wonder what is the meaning of life after you read this. Let me just check to see if there's anything else. One thing that caught me by surprise is the book really does have like an air of mystery to it. There is like a mystery component of who is doing this and Sophia. So that was very interesting. It wasn't just like a romance book, it had a little bit more to it. So I did enjoy that. Okay, so now I will recap the 3 books that I read in the 5th episode of my Read It and Return It series. The first book was Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. I rated this 3.5 stars and it was 2 for spice. The second book I read was Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. I rated that 4 stars and it was also 2 spice. And the third and last book I read was Code Word Romance by Carly Walker. I rated it 2.75 stars and it was also 2 spice. I feel like normally I would want to rate these books like 1 spice because there's only like 1 or 2 scenes maybe that they are being intimate, and it's so quick. It's not like it's drawn out and extremely detailed, but I feel like 1 spice is like a step below doing the deed. So that's why they're 2 spice. It's not because it's like steam multiple times. It's very short and concise steam. But anyway, that is it for this episode. I appreciate you so much, as always, taking your time out to watch my video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.